Welcome to the car wash. As we approach our road trip, which is a road trip I have to do anyway, but I figured might as well put up a couple flyers along the way and show you guys some scenic stuff and maybe talk some shit. So, first of all, we gotta get nice and cleansified for our road trip. But anyway, hello. I'm going to take you guys on a little scenic journey through California, put up a couple flyers along the way, and go where I need to go anyway, which is Bakersfield. If any of you are not aware of Bakersfield, and I'm really talking to the people that are farther away, the non-Californians, it's often been called Nashville. I am not with Eric. No, I am not. I am riding solo today because I actually have business to do up in Bakersfield. So I just thought, well, I'll take you guys along for the ride. And first step of this ride is the car wash. So anyway, we'll get that done in a second, and then we'll hit the road, and we'll see some nice scenery, have a little chat about everything, although I won't be able to read much while I'm on the freeway, because most of this will be freeway. Is this telling me, oh shit, this car wash is telling me I'm all done, and oh shit, okay, that's it, okay. I wondered why I had water all over my car, but you know, anyway. So, a lot of fun action in Scientology land, and it seems that there's a lot of that we have body routers out. Hello. Seems that the Scientology body routers are finding other locations to do their evil stuff. Okay, is that about it? Okay. So anyway, so that's exciting. You know, they got busted on the Venice boardwalk, doing their usual, breaking the law, not caring about the rules. It was very funny seeing them get busted and look all shocked, like, what, me? I don't know. Taking up more space than they're allowed to take up. It's so funny how Scientology really feels like the rules do not apply to them. When in actuality, the rules should apply triple to them. Quadruple. So anyway, here we go on our road trip. We're going to go over some mountains, and we're going to go into the Big Valley. And the Big Valley, where I'm from originally, before all of my travels began. I was from the San Joaquin Valley, which is where 25% of the agriculture in America comes from. And that's a lot when you consider the size of this valley, and then you consider the size of the Midwest, and you realize that this valley here that we are headed to, because it produces things like almonds, pistachios, walnuts, it brings in a lot of cash per acre. But anyway, yeah, so Scientology is showing us these days that they do need body routers. And they are looking for places to do their body routing evil. So right now, for reference, this is the San Fernando Valley, the top of the San Fernando Valley. And we are headed out of it, going north. So, like Aaron said a few weeks ago, months ago, I don't know, time flies. But anyway, he was saying how body routing is not going away for Scientology because largely their media efforts are such a total failure that they are not getting a stream of people coming into Scientology because of Scientology TV or any of that crap. They are getting basically nothing by that because Scientology TV is a total joke. It's like Soviet or North Korean propaganda. It's silly. You know, slickly produced and 100% non-believable. And boring as hell. It just doesn't work, you know. Think of this. If you have a TV network completely dedicated to spreading your message, you think of all these Christian TV networks, and all they have is shows with people asking for money. And, you know, they're able to keep the whole network going on that. And certain broadcasters are willing to come in and pay them a lot of money in order to be on the network. And I'm sure Scientology TV generates some leads for Scientology. I'm sure it's not zero, but it's not much. It's not enough to pay the bills, not anywhere near. So they need to do body routing. They need to go out in public. They hand out their brochures. They give people, you know, try to bring people in for a personality test, or watch a free movie about a book that then we'll try to sell to you for $85. Yeah, how's that working for you, Scientology? Word on the street is it's not working at all. So, sorry I can't see the messages as they come in, but I will go back over them later and send replies when necessary or warranted or whatever. You know, some replies, some messages are just in the conversation in the moment, so I'm not necessarily going to reply to those as much afterwards. But anyway, so here we go. We're getting into the hills at the top of the San Fernando Valley, and we're on I-5. This is the freeway that goes from Mexico to Canada along the west coast, and it's the main route that people take from LA to San Francisco. And so hope you enjoy the scenery. It's going to get a lot nicer in a second. So yeah, I'm headed up to Bakersfield to do some day job work. And like I said, I wanted to bring you guys along, have a little chit chat, and whenever I stop to put up some stickers or something, some flyers, I will I'll check in on the chats. If you see straight up ahead, slightly at about 1 o'clock, you see this line coming down the mountain, this white line, little S shape. That is part of the irrigation. That's part of the California Aqueduct Network, bringing water to LA from Northern California. And it spills down the mountain when it's going. And here's where you turn off if you want to go to Palmdale, Lancaster, out to the desert, but we're not doing that. We're going straight north. So yeah, anyway, Scientology needs to do body routing. The problem for Scientology is us. We are in the way of their body routing plans. And so what they've needed to do is to go elsewhere, to move away from their organizations and try to find spots where we won't be. And I saw earlier in San Francisco, my friend with the brain fog, what's the latest name of the channel? Brain Fog, I think. Brain Fog, I don't know. But anyway, we know who we're talking about. So anyway, yeah, she found some body routers farther away from the org. So there you can see that thing on the right now, where you can see the water spilling down the mountain coming into LA. You know, LA is quite an artificial place in terms of, it's not really very self-sustaining. It doesn't have water, and it has a lot of people, so it needs to pull in water from all over the area. Otherwise, it would turn into a desert very, very quickly. And so here we go, the traditional traffic jam zone that always happens right here, no matter what. Right when you get to the top of the valley and this 14 splits off from 5, always gets stuck in this spot. So yeah, so Scientology has no choice but to send their body routers out farther away from the org, which is an issue for their sales funnel, because when they can do the body routing right by the org, they when they can do that, they can bring people right into the org. And so that's really good for sales. It doesn't really work to sell people on Scientology if they have a chance to go home and Google Scientology before they come into the org, right? So the general form of body routing would be you go out on the street, you hand out the brochures, you say, oh, would you like to come in for a free personality test or to see a free movie, IQ test, whatever. And then the people come in and then they get hammered to buy, to purchase a book, to purchase a course. And they feel out how much they think they can take the person for. Some people, they try to take them for a couple grand right there on the spot. Other people, they're happy if they get like $1, just so they could say they got money off of somebody. If they try to sell you a book for $85 and you say, hell no, I'm not paying $85 for Dianetics. I could probably buy it for 50 cents on Amazon. So they will haggle with you. Because when they pull somebody off the street, Scientology works on statistics, and it's all about, number one, how many people did you pull off the street? How many people did you bring in? Just bodies in the shop, right? Number two, how many people did you get to buy anything at all? Meaning $1 counts, whatever. And number three, how much money did you get in? So there's a video that I saw, I can't remember whose video it was, sorry. But it was somebody that went into Scientology, and the Scientologists were begging them just for $1. They wanted to be able to write down that statistic that they had somebody who gave them some money, and even $1 would do it. It would add one more person to that notch of, people who paid something, anything, right? So the desperation level of these Scientologists trying to get $1 out of this poor person was ridiculous. It was shameful, humiliating. We don't mind when Scientology feels a little humiliation. It should be their natural state. Just to be able to say you're a Scientologist is humiliating on its own. And it should be seen that way by everybody. So yeah. But the thing is, now they have to go farther away. So they have to set up a booth somewhere, like what they were doing at Venice Beach. They have to set up a booth, and then they'll try to sell you there. But, it's probably not a great location for people to be taking personality tests, certainly not to be watching the free movie. So my guess is that, if they start selling you at Venice Beach, they're probably going to have to close the deal at an org. So that's another step in the process. And every step in the process where you're conning somebody, you're going to get drop off. You're going to get people who drop off. You're going to get people who go to Venice Beach and they talk to a Scientologist and they make an appointment to go to a Scientology org for for the personality test, whatever, to do a course, auditing, whatever. But the thing is, Now you got people who met a Scientologist, they talked to a Scientologist, but they're not going straight into Scientology like when they got them on Hollywood Boulevard. So what's going to happen? They're going to talk to people. They're going to talk to friends and family and say, oh, I had this interesting encounter. I met a Scientologist. I have an appointment to go down to Scientology and take a personality test, or I signed up for this course or whatever. And then what's going to happen? Well, if they tell 5 people, at least 3 of those people are going to say, are you crazy? You don't know about Scientology? That's a wacko cult. And they're going to start Googling Scientology. They're going to find the South Park episode. And most of those people are never going to show up at Scientology after they get that information. Most of those people are not going to do it. So that's why their body routing is, here you guys go. Now we're up in the Wild West. And so you have to look at it as what it is. It's a total con. And a con artist, they don't want you talking to other people in between your first meeting and them getting money off of you. Any pause in the interaction like that is going to create a huge drop-off effect where a bunch of people that were going to do it all of a sudden change their mind. Look, people are flaky. People like flaking on appointments. They do it all the time with all kinds of appointments. It's like if you met any kind of preacher and they start talking about their church and whatever, you might say, you know what, I really feel like going to that church. I am very inspired to go to that church. Those people seem awesome, blah, blah, blah. But then what happens? Well, you wake up on Sunday morning and you feel a little bit lazy, and you're like, maybe next week. And then next week, you don't even think about it. And maybe later that day, you say, I was going to go to that church today. I forgot all about it, right? And then after that, you cool off, you forget about it. If you never see that preacher again, you're probably never going to that church. Whereas, if they took you straight to the church and you went in there, you met a bunch of people, it was all great, and they're like, I hope to see you on Sunday. Much bigger chance that you show back up at that church. So Scientology now, they're faced with having to find people, recruit people in different areas, and try to bring them into Scientology. And you imagine, in the amount of time that takes in between that meeting and when they actually are supposed to show up at Scientology, they're either going to just flake like any normal person, or they're going to Google Scientology. Well, that'll be the end. Or they're going to tell somebody about it, and that person's going to say, hell no, don't go to Scientology. Either way. But the good thing now is that at least they are out there, they are trying, we will find them, and all it takes is one of us to stand by a booth that they set up somewhere by a park, whatever. All it takes is that. And they shut down the whole operation right away. It's the funniest thing. And I'll tell you, anybody out there, let's say you don't have a YouTube channel, you don't upload videos for anything. Please, if you see Scientologists out in the wild trying to recruit, just film them. Even if you don't send the film to anybody. If you do film them, please send it to me, davymismanage@protonmail.com. Send me that clip. I will put it on my channel. I will give you full credit. But if not, look, even if you stand there pretending to be filming them and just kind of do a little monologue as you're doing it, like, I hear Scientology's a cult. Is Scientology a cult? What do you guys think? Just stand there saying some shit like that while you're doing it. Now we're passing Magic Mountain, one of the coolest amusement parks in the nation. Six Flags, blah, 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 whatever, Magic Mountain. But can't turn the camera, but yeah, there's all kinds of cool rides over there. Where I used to go when I was a teenager, that was like the most thrilling place to go. So yeah, if you see Scientologists, especially if they set up a tent, a booth, whatever, just stand there and film them. If you don't want to film them, stand there and pretend to film them. And if you want to take it a step farther, if they're talking to anybody, just say, it's a cult, it's Scientology, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. That's all you got to do. It's fun. It's good exercise. It's great for your lungs. It's truly saving the planet, unlike what Scientology claims to be doing. You're actually saving people from a cult, which is always a positive action. Now, I did look it up, and it seems there is absolutely zero Scientology presence in Bakersfield, so there's no place to go and protest, unfortunately. But let's keep it that way. nothing like, you know, a little prevention. When it comes to Scientology, we don't only need to go after their locations. We're going after the hearts and minds of people. And if we can go to a place where Scientology doesn't even exist yet, well, then we can maybe make it more likely that Scientology will never exist there. And wouldn't that be nice? Yes, it would, is the answer. Yes, it absolutely would. Very ominous blinking sign there. Will be enforced. What will be enforced? Do tell. I assume speed limits, but I didn't see the what. So back in the day, like 50s and before, I guess, maybe even the 60s, this used to be, this 2-hour trip that I'm driving now, it used to be a 2 or 3 day trip where you would stay at hotels along the way, and there were restaurants and whatever, and it was very steep, very difficult, a lot of radiators boiling over. Even when I was a kid, that was a very common thing on this road. They would have all these areas where people could pull over and fill up their radiators with water. Back when they used to put water in the radiators. No more of that going on. But there would just, there we go, radiator water. You see the sign up there on the right? There, it still does exist. Because this is a big climb here. So yeah, this used to be a really intense journey. And now it's just something you can go for the day and come right back, which is what I'm doing today. So that's definitely an improvement. There's a lot of fires that have happened along here. Sometimes you hit a spot where it's just completely black on both sides of the road. But anyway, so we're in a phase with Scientology where they can't keep hunkering down forever. They have to keep trying to get new people. If they don't get new people, their collapse is going to happen a lot faster. They make a lot of noise about new ideal orgs. But everybody can see that as soon as a new or ideal org actually happens, there's no activity. There's nothing going on. You know, there's like a few students or victims per day coming in, doing their little chumpy Sciento work, and you know, it's not enough to pay the bills. And although Scientology has enough money to keep things afloat for years, they don't really work that way. You know, it's like the mafia. You got to kick up to the boss. And if you don't kick up to the boss, you're in trouble. And, you know, the boss isn't here to pay for your failing org. Obviously, in the end, they will if they have to, because L. Ron Hubbard made it a high crime to shut down an org. So what they do is they put a lot of pressure on those orgs to produce. But how are they going to produce with a bunch of people out in front yelling it's a cult? And then everybody finding out it is a cult. And most people, you know, they don't go and willingly join a cult. That's just how that works. People aren't rushing to sign up for a cult. And by now, pretty much, well, not everybody, but a huge percentage of the population knows the deal. It is a cult. And so it's very hard to recruit. And it's very hard to recruit if you can't do it right by the org. I mean, I heard people, you know, over at Big Blue, 2 blocks away from Big Blue, is there's a subway station, there's a bunch of hospitals over there. And I've heard people saying, well, that's too far away from the org to recruit. You know, you can't drag people 2 blocks over to the org to Big Blue. Well, they did. That was a major subway station, whatever. But now they can't do that, because if they go there, one of us is going to show up and say it's a cult, don't do it. And all we got to do is pull out our camera and they will stop even trying. They will just pack it up. Now you see how brown it is, but there's still some green here. A month from now, this will be 100% brown. All these plants, all these grasses will be dead. And that's normal. That's the same way it is every summer. But, you know, just in my capacity as a tour guide today, we are in the mountains between the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles and the San Joaquin Valley on the way to Bakersfield, if you're just joining. And we will put up some stickers along the way, some flyers, whatnot. But, you know, trying to get some mileage, some miles behind us first before that happens. It is tempting to pull over and, you know, put up a sticker everywhere I possibly can, but that probably shouldn't do that. So anyway, what happened was we shut down the Hollywood Testing Center, and then people all over the world, all over the United States and the rest of the world, started joining in our protest activities. And now it's at a point that sptv.space is letting everybody know what's going on. Check out this flower on the right that's going straight up. These are really cool. Well, there's a bunch of them. Very cool. Tripping kind of desert plants. I don't know how well you see them on there, but there's more. And so, you know, Scientology got into a mode where they started hunkering down, and you know, they lost all of their confront for a while, and they just went into their lairs and hunkered down. Probably had 8,000 strategy meetings. Probably a bunch of bullshit about how they're crushing all the SPs, when everybody knows the SPs are actually crushing them. So it's funny. Time keeps going. Time keeps on passing into the future. And so now they're getting another strategy, which is, okay, we're going to go where they're not looking for us. We're going to go farther away. We're going to go to Venice Beach. We're going to go to other neighborhoods. And we're going to go recruit there. And like I say, the problem with that is it's really far from an org. So how do you lure the people into the org from there? Really hard. How do you get people to not Google Scientology before they show up? Good question. And so they're looking for places. And if you go to sptv.space, as I was saying, if you go to sptv.space and go to the I Spy option at the top of the page, if you do see any body routing, please report it. Now, I haven't been able to use that function. I haven't seen the body routing, first of all, but also I haven't seen anybody reporting. So I haven't seen the sptv.space in action, but it is there. Be a far more relevant tool to buy. Sorry for it cutting out before, but that's bound to happen on a road like this. I don't know where there are holes in the cell phone coverage, but yeah, it's Sorry about that. Just talking about how it was cutting out, and it cut out once again. It looks like when we go into a dip between the mountains, well, which we're going to do in a second. Hopefully it won't keep doing that, but that seems to be the pattern. As you can see, this is a very non-populated zone we're driving through. Most of the towns, there aren't really towns, but most of what we drive through here are little areas just to service the road, you know, like a couple gas stations, fast food, and, you know, a couple houses of the people who work there, and that's about it. Areas of state that are desert, that are, you know, bigger than many countries and barely have any population. So now, what is Scientology going to do when they have all these, you know, they start to put body routers out in other locations farther away from Scientology? Their ability to get those people to join Scientology is going to be extremely low. And because they don't have the new memberships that they were generating when places like the Hollywood Testing Center were going, and that was probably the #1 location on earth for recruiting what Scientologists call raw meat directly off of the streets. Nobody in Scientology seems to know of another location that had that kind of profile. And that's really not happening now. So what's going to happen is Scientology is going to try to do this body routing elsewhere. And like a good virus, we will adapt. We will adapt to their strategy as they adapt to our strategy. And we will shut them down wherever we find them. And sptv.space, with the I Spy function at the top of the page, where people can report body routing, you know, Dianetics tables set up. So now we are at 3,000 feet, just under 1,000 meters of elevation. And we started at about 500 feet. And we are not at the top of the journey yet. But anyway, what's going to happen is that Scientology is going to find themselves failing in a huge way when it comes to recruitment at these less desirable locations. But, you know, they're going to get everybody hyped up. They're going to get everybody hoping within the cult for a little while before it sinks in, this isn't working either. So then what are they going to do? My prediction, that's when we're going to see them go crazy. Because here's the thing. What they have to do now is they have to prevent mass defections. Okay? That's the next step in this process. Mark my words, write it down, call me out if I'm wrong, praise me when I'm right, because I am. What's going to happen is Scientology cannot go forever without getting new people in. Because people are leaving all the time. People that just joined, people that joined 20 years ago, people are leaving all the time. And the fewer new people that show up, the more veterans that are going to leave. As people leave and as morale plummets, and remember, in Scientology, you can never blame Scientology for failure. The failure is always your failure. So, what does that mean? All these failures in Scientology are being blamed on Sea Org members and staff members. And they are getting hammered relentlessly about these failures. And they are getting blamed. They are getting retraining. They are getting checked and audited and whatever, okay? So, the more pressure that comes down on them, and these people know it's not my fault there's all these protesters out there ruining it for us. There's nothing I can personally do about this. If I try to go out, then, I just get yelled at by protesters, and I don't recruit anybody, and it's a big fail. So they start realizing, well, these Scientology rules are bullshit. There's no way that I'm failing because of why Scientology says I'm failing. There's no way. Which means, as soon as one thing is bullshit, it opens the door up to, well, maybe there's more bullshit than that. And so, and a lot of these orgs, they got nothing going on. They got nobody coming in. And then they got the head of the org beating people up for not producing. And remember, Scientology staff are paid by commission only. Well, how are you making any commission if you're not getting in new members? You're not. You're not making any money. So maybe in the past, at least you made something. Now you're making nothing. Or so close to nothing that it's a joke. Oh, what the hell? We can't even go to Gorman? Is my big plan foiled? Oh my God. That was my plan. Gorman. We'd always laugh at Gorman whenever we drove by and think, oh my God, imagine living here. Imagine living in a place where there's like 5 businesses and then just the people that work those businesses. Crazy. Oh well. And there's the outskirts of Gorman, the end of Gorman. That was Gorman. So anyway, and what Eric Rader always says, he points out that it takes a long time to train people for these positions in Scientology. It takes at least a couple of years. And so if all these people leave, it's not like they have a bunch of people to just come in and replace them. 4,000 feet elevation, everybody. All right. What is that? About 3,300 meters, I guess. So this is basically like high desert here. That's kind of, I don't know, might be considered. All right, Pass, 4,144 feet. I believe this is the top of the journey. And pretty soon, after we hit this rest stop, we're going to go down the Grapevine, which is a very quick drop of about, I don't know, probably 2,000 feet in just a few miles. It's one of those places where trucks can lose their brakes, and it's a very bad situation. Really steep. So anyway, here we go, Fraser Park. And when we get up here, I'm going to go through all the comments and see if I can give some replies. So what can we look forward to with Scientologists now? Now that the desperation is going to a new level? Well, first of all, it's going to take a little time for them to decide that their body routing in other locations isn't working any better than any other body routing. So that's going to take a moment. They're probably not going to figure it out right away. They're probably going to be like telling themselves, oh yeah, we're going to make this adjustment. We're going to tweak this little thing, and then it'll be all great. That'll be stage one, and it'll take a moment for that to happen, I'm sure. Okay, let's see what you guys had to say all this time. What's up? Okay. Oh, they do Civil War reenactment in Fraser Park. Had no idea. No pay for staff. Totally. I'm going backwards. Oh, yeah. Miscavige is going to get way paranoid. Oh, the Grapevine, Phyllis. Okay. Yeah, I miss the test center days too. Every time I go by there, Eric, I'm like, I really get nostalgia, and it's very funny getting nostalgia for something that's like 6 months ago. Queen, what is that? Suk Meow? Northern California, where? Where would you protest with me? Where in Northern California are you? Send me an email. Yes, Test Center. Well, Test Center will be back. Um, Seattle, Sweden, cool. Yeah, hit that like button, everybody, please. You're gonna wave from your deck once I'm in Bakersfield. Awesome, thank you. Kaylin, they tried to recruit you the other day, and you asked them why they wasted their money on Miscavige and believe a literal criminal and bad fiction writer. They left. Yeah, that's all it takes. So I'm going to leave you guys here looking at the view for a second, and I'm going to run very quickly, put up a couple flyers. Well, let's see. Can I take you with me? I just don't want to really take you into the restroom with me. That might kind of freak some people out if I show up with a if I show up with a phone and I'm filming in the restroom. Not too cool, and I do need to take that little break, but give me a second. I'll be right back. 3 minutes, and I will take this opportunity to put up a little bit of this. And since we're still technically in LA, a little of this, maybe a little of this. Yeah, let's do it. Let's put up a couple. I'll be right back. Next stop is the Grapevine. Very cool view. Definitely worth waiting for. Alrighty. I got some very good stickering done in a very short amount of time. Santa Cruz, Watson. Oh yeah, I remember you asked me about that area, about, yeah. Is there a Scientology org in Santa Cruz? I went to the San Jose org. The problem with that place is it's like an industrial office park setting way off of the street. And yeah, that wasn't, I walked in, it was a lot of fun because it's actually the only place that I actually ever walked into. And just gonna set up my charger. No need to drain the battery all the way to the end. Okay, so in a second we're gonna go down the Grapevine. It's very cool. It's a very steep area, and it's where we go down into the San Joaquin Valley. And they have all of these areas where, what do they call it? Like runaway truck zones, where if the trucks lose their brakes, they have to go off of the road and kind of have a controlled crash. Because this does happen on this place. It's super steep. And it comes down into the San Joaquin Valley. And then and hopefully if there's a little bit of wind, we'll have a cool view. But the problem with this area where I am from, Bakersfield, and this whole zone once we come into the valley, is that it competes with Los Angeles for most polluted air in the United States. So sometimes you come down into this valley and all you see is pollution. Very nasty. But if there's a little wind or something, you just see all the farmland. And there's a lot of it. And it stretches up like 400 miles north. So this whole valley, which is, let's say, 100 miles wide or less, 400 miles long, produces 25% by dollar of the agricultural production of the United States. Now, I say by dollar because it's some very high dollar items like nuts and things like that. So, Nebraska produces a lot of corn, but an acre of corn doesn't get you that much money. An acre of pistachio trees gets you a hell of a lot of money. So that's why this area is so rich. But then Bakersfield, where I'm from, also has oil. So that makes it even richer. So I hope we don't cut out on the most scenic part of the ride, but it is probably one of the most likely spots to lose because we're going through the mountain. See the view. It will right here in a second. But I was really happy. That rest stop definitely got a lot of propagandizing by me. And I think they learned a lot. over there at the Fraser Park rest stop. Another thing, unfortunately, that we can probably count on as all of these Scientology methods continue to fail is that we're going to get more of these crazed Scientologists coming out attacking protesters. Now, I don't want to think negatively, and I don't want to manifest anything bad, but here, you guys, it's going to get pretty cool right here in about 2 minutes. So yeah, we're going to probably get crazed attackers. And we're probably going to get more and more of those as time goes by, unfortunately. Because the thing is, it's this mass frustration, you know, for them. The cult members in Scientology truly believe that they're saving the world and that it's only these super evil people that would have anything against what they're doing. So to them, it's just like axiomatic that we are evil, that they are good. And some of them, you know, get a little unhinged. Here we go, the beginning of the grapevine. Just the beginning, not the intense part. So we have different things to look for, you know. And, you know, there's that struggle that happens, that struggle to stay alive, which involves lashing out, which involves doing erratic things. And so, you know, that's what we can expect from them. See that cop up there on the right? Yeah, this is like a major kind of speed trap zone, because you don't even have to put on the gas here to speed. You know, you can just roll down the hill and eventually you're going to be going about 100 miles an hour, or at least 80 if you don't use the brakes at all. In this area in the winter, there is snow every now and then, and when there's like any snow at all, this thing gets shut down quickly. Little ear pop just now. As you see, trucks are only allowed to go 35 miles an hour because it's really easy. If a truck goes a little too fast, they could just burn out their brakes and they end up having to go on one of those wipeout things. So here we go. Runaway truck ramp, right exit, 1.5 miles. And there's another one on the left as well. Man, cops are all over this place today. I've gotten busted here. It's a hard place not to speed. And straight ahead. right up here is like where they like to bust you and give you a ticket. So, but I'm not going too far over the limit, barely at all. Hey, one thing I would like to ask of you guys, I mean, number one, if you go and download some flyers and put them up in your area, even if your area has zero Scientology, that would be great. Number two, if you could send pictures of anti-Scientology flyers with famous, notable sites in the background, you know, like a little Xenu poster with the Eiffel Tower in the background, or, you know, the equivalent, a little Rome, Paris, London, Big Ben, you know, or even less famous places than that, but, you know, recognizable spots. And have a little Scientology, anti-Scientology flyer in the foreground, and then have the background have, you know, the tourist spot. So here's the 99 junction. So if you drive to San Francisco, if you're driving up to Northern California, most people are going to take Highway 5 here to the right. But if you're going up the center of the state, the agricultural zone, you stay here on 99, Route 99. And Highway 5 is pretty boring. It goes on the western side of the valley, and it kind of looks the same for about 4 hours of driving. It's very monotonous and not much to see. It doesn't really go through towns or anything. But the 99, on the other hand, it goes through all the little farming towns of the Central Valley. And it's a little slower, but it's definitely a lot less boring of a trip, and I prefer it a lot. I-5 is really boring from here up to like the Bay Area zone. So anyway, we're heading into Bakersfield, where I'm going to go to a meeting, but gonna do a little flyering, put up a few stickers. Now here's the question: when a lot of Scientology staff start leaving, Are we going to know about it? That's what I wonder. Are we going to know about it? Because we might not. We might not know about it. Like, it's not like they're going to tell us, you know. There comes a cop on my ass. Yes, please keep going, cop. Thank you. Even though I'm slightly going over the speed limit, you could definitely find some perpetrators out there more deserving of a ticket than me. Thank you very much. So yeah, when the staff leave, are we going to know about it? They're not going to report to us. Like, we have no idea really how many people we might have encouraged or we might have indirectly caused to leave Scientology. I think the bigger statistic in Scientology terms for us is how many people that we have helped prevent from joining Scientology in the first place. I think that's the bigger deal here. But I'm sure there are people who have gotten fed up and left, but they're not necessarily feeling that friendly towards us. Might be quite the opposite. Like, maybe they left Scientology just because they were catching so much shit because of us messing with their statistics that they left. But, you know, maybe that means they're resenting us. If you notice by the side of the road where there's this fence, see the green, these are tumbleweeds. For those of you who don't know about tumbleweeds, and that's like an exotic thing, you'll see the green ones that are growing, but you'll also see the dead ones that have actually, become real tumbleweeds, and they will gather up along a fence, and you can see a little bit of that to the right. Tumbleweeds to the right. And there was a show they made about Bakersfield 20 years ago or whatever, and they made it like it was a real small town and they just had tumbleweeds going everywhere. But yeah, tumbleweeds, that's a real sign of the Wild West. Here's another thing they have in Bakersfield that for many of you might be very mythological, and you might not think it's a real thing even, is roadrunners. Roadrunners live in the wild here. And they don't exactly look like the cartoon, but slightly, they run. They are flightless birds that run very quickly, and they're about 1 foot tall, maybe a little less, and they can be seen in this area. So any of you people that love the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote and all that, well, here's the real location of those critters. Bakersfield. So look at, do I deliver or what? We got tumbleweeds, we got Roadrunner stories, I must be the best tour guide in history. And coming up soon, we have one of the more formidable names in terms of naming of cities, naming of towns. Coming up very soon is the town of Weed Patch. Weed Patch, one of the cultural meccas of Kern County, not to be undone by Pumpkin Center. So if you come to the Bakersfield area, please make sure that you do not miss Weed Patch and also Pumpkin Center, because life is not the same without a visit to Weed Patch and Pumpkin Center. But unfortunately, the last time I went to Weed Patch, they have seemed to remove that name from almost everything. In the past, there'd be Weed Patch this, Weed Patch that. And they've been renaming things. I think they're trying to rebrand themselves away from the Weed Patch identity, which is a shame. And I think they need to be convinced not to do that. Now, most people do not think of California looking like this. You know, most people, when they think of California, they're thinking beaches, yeah, they're thinking of beaches, basically. That's what they're thinking of. Palm trees, well, there are palm trees here, but this is what a big part of it is. So anyway, the next steps for Scientology, well, we're in the next step right now, which seems to be we're going to do body routing farther away from the orgs. Pretty soon that's going to become apparent that, number one, we're going to find you and we're going to shut your ass down no matter where you go, no matter how far from the org you go. We're going to find you, we're going to get you. One way or another, right? We're going to find you. We're going to get you. We're going to tell everybody it's a cult. You're not going to make it, Scientology. Number two, you're not going to get anybody in these faraway areas. It's going to be very unproductive. And so then what's going to happen? Well, maybe you're going to open up the Hollywood Testing Center and places like that again. Maybe you're going to start route on the street. And that's not going to work, because that's just going to draw us like moths to a flame, except the flame ain't going to burn us, it's going to burn you. And then there's going to have to be, I think, some of the moves that we can look forward to. It's going to be that Scientology's going to have to start paying some people to make some sales. Scientology's either going to have to pay their staff and not have it be all on commission, and they're going to have to pay them well. And where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from the top. And like any mafia organization, Scientology does not like money coming from the top moving downstream. They hate that. That is not their favorite. So they really don't want that to happen. But that's the only way they're going to get any new people in. But even if they do that, let's say they pay people $50,000 a year which would be beyond historic. Well, number one, they're going to abuse the people more since they're paying them. They're going to require more hours. And number two, they're not going to be able to sell Scientology to anybody. Nobody is going to sign up for Scientology. Like, not nobody. Of course, somebody will, right? 100 years from now, somebody will. But not enough to really make a difference to keep it viable. Another thing is, you're going to have more and more people, what do they call it in Scientology, where you're under the radar? That's it, under the radar. People that have quit Scientology in their hearts, but they haven't formally quit. They are still on the rolls, but they're not paying, they're not showing up to events, they're not showing up to let themselves get registered, to get regged for anything. They're just giving Scientology the silent treatment. And what is Scientology going to do to that? Well, they're not going to push it too hard, because if they do, then the people are going to make it official. So more and more and more people are going to start quietly quitting Scientology. And yeah, they're going to be on records or whatever. They're going to be on a file listed as being a Scientologist. There's going to be more and more of that. And so that doesn't do anything for Scientology in any way. What it does do, though, is it makes the people working for Scientology, well, they have to keep calling these people, trying to get them to and sell them on a course or whatever. But the more that happens, the more people avoid the events. The more people avoid the events, the more desperate Scientology gets to recruit people to come to events. And it goes round and round and round. And every time it goes around again, Scientology loses more members. So that's fun. Looks like garlic in this truck to the right. You see tons of these trucks going by with all the different produce. And so the pressure to produce for Sea Org and Scientology staff is going to get so huge, it's going to cause meltdowns, mental breakdowns. It's going to cause freakouts. And there's going to be some unfortunate situations coming out of that. And I really hope everybody stays safe when that does happen. As we saw with the crazy dentist attacking Aja the other day, you know, these people, they freak out. They lose their shit all the time. And so that's only going to increase, people. It's going to increase a lot. But as as they try to recruit people in places farther away from their orgs, and they see us finding them. What's that up there? Sweet potatoes? I'm always curious what all the, oh no, carrots. Yep. Very exciting. Carrot truck. I used to work for 2 weeks when I was 15 years old. I worked in a carrot packing plant. That was some heavy labor for a 15-year-old and very monotonous, very mind-numbing. Putting bags of carrots into bigger bags all day long. Not fun. So let's get some stickers and flyers up. Let's start propagandizing this town on the way to my meeting. And then maybe after my meeting, I'll just get right back on with you guys and we'll do it again. We'll see. We'll see if I have the energy for it after the meeting. There we go. The problem with a lot of these towns is like there's not that many areas, especially Bakersfield. My thermometer here says it's 102. I don't know how accurate my car thermometer is, but when I looked at the forecast, it was supposed to be 106 degrees here today. Oh, now it says 104. See what happens when you slow down a little bit and let it take a reading. One way to deal with the heat. Eric would be salivating right now seeing these telephone poles. Is that wood or not? Maybe that's not wood. Might as well propagandize this zone very quickly. Can't hurt to put up a couple. One second. righty. Got a few up there. Let's see. What do we have here? Protester been seen, staff changed. Oh, especially Chicago and Austin. Are they being switched for Twaining? Twaining. Hey, let's see. Yeah, so that was a steep mountain, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, probably the reason that they're switching them out is, if I had to guess, and I have no inside knowledge on this, of course, but my guess would be that they're trying to make, I think it's for morale. I think it's about morale and about, keeping people that are fresh. Think of it this way, like if you were running an army and you took a bunch of losses, you're going to want fresh meat in there to cover the losses, but you're also going to want fresh meat in there to protect the morale. You're going to want people in there that haven't been weighed down by months and months of failure with the same people in the same location, just continually failing. It's bad for morale. And so I think, you want to freshen up the troops. You want to keep trying to get new people in, because otherwise everybody's just all demoralized and bummed out and freaking. And, after a while, it just keeps going down, 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 And so I think that's why keep everybody fresh. It's like they give them a big pep talk from wherever they were before. Also, there's probably different people coming off of different trainings all the time and being put in. But another thing we have to remember, and here's another aspect of it from what I know, these locations aren't generating enough people to do the work. And so they need like Sea Org members and people from other locations to come in and augment their staff. And so, but those people are from other locations, so they're not there forever. They're there for a limited period of time, and then they go back. So I think it all works together. That, this is my guess. I'm not claiming to have insider information on this whatsoever, but I think that's the best explanation. Number one, they're trying to keep people fresh, and number two, they have to bring people in from the outside because they don't recruit enough local staff in most of these locations. So it doesn't work very well. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go now, and I have to get to my meeting. But I'll probably be on in a few hours and do some flyering around here and the return trip to LA. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate all of you guys taking this ride with me, and I will see you soon. Thank you, and please hit the like button on the way out if you don't mind. Bye-bye.